After the release of the new trailer Mullock Returns, though we were given some answers, we were left with two very big questions. Hi everyone, my name is Insomniac Campbell, and welcome back to another Late Nights with an Insomniac. In this video I want to try and clarify the confusion around the Mullock hideout that there seems to be a lot of. This location left us rather confused, as it does not at all at first glance resemble the Monsaic Lines. Well, I've done some digging per se, and I believe that it is, in fact, the same Monsaic Lines that Abe ends his journey at in the first installment of the series. I have a few points and facts I'm going to go over, and I will break them down and discuss each point individually, then tie them all together to convince you that the Fire Mullock and the Aviator Slig witness did come from Monsaic Lines, and was started by the Mudokans that lived there. Let's go. So fact number 1. Canonically, Bigface brings Abe back to Monsaic after defeating Mullock. From here we assume that in the previous trailers, the Muds are all dancing and drinking at the hideout when some catastrophic accident takes place, leaving the clumsy Mudokans there without a home. We can all agree we know that the Monsaic Lines is in big trouble here at this point in time. Fact 2. Mudokans are clumsy. It is part of their nature. Lorne has expressed how flammable and how volatile this drink is. On top of that, it is addictive, to the point where if a Mudokan doesn't drink more within 48 hours, they die of a cardiac arrest. Fact 3. These Mudokans are dangerously close to these campfires and are waving around the drinks and tossing them about like it's nothing, because they are oblivious to the true dangers at stake here. Okay, so with these facts out of the way, let's move on to some opinions, which of course are up to debate, but I will try to make them more soft facts, and really cement them in the realm of plausibility. Opinion 1. While this may not look like Monsaic Lines, it does seem to resemble the entrance to Monsaic Lines. Both in Odyssey and New and Tasty, Monsaic is based underground, with a hole in the ceiling allowing the light of the world to pour in. Also, take note that this crater or divot in the earth appears to be quite deep, possibly just as deep as the cliff that Abe falls down, smashing his skull in and abruptly ending his journey before being brought back by Bigface. Opinion 2. My guess is that we do not recognize the desert area at all from the trailer, because we've only ever seen it at night, and in Odyssey and New and Tasty, we never see too much greenery on the way to Monsaic Lines. In fact, it's quite a rocky path. The path to home is along the free fire zone, which we only ever see at night. Yes, there are trees, but everything seems quite dead. There's no leaves or shrubbery, probably because it's a desert under the light of the Mudokan moon. So it's still very likely that this is in fact the same Mudokan hideout. Opinion 3. Another reason to believe this is Monsaic Lines is that the map and locations Lorne spoke about add up perfectly. I've spoken about this in the past, that Lorne mentioned last year, saying then we go into old abandoned towns that are a little bit more like Stranger. These old mill towns and mining towns. It now seems obvious he's referring to the Gorge, and as shown in the new trailer, matches that description. If we also take a look at Abe's roadmap, we see that the Gorge is close to Monsaic Lines, so story-wise for Soulstorm, it all adds up. We start at a burning Monsaic Lines where Abe was going to remove his stitches because the shaman convinces him to do it, and is then interrupted by some Muds accidentally setting the place on fire. It all fits. The story has a perfect seamless flow to it. Opinion 4. I also believe this to be Monsaic Lines because why wouldn't it be? I seriously can't think of a reason to create a new location the Muds hide at, only to burn it down practically moments later, it would seem. It makes more sense that they burned down Monsaic Lines because we all know that location. For decades, it has been the safe place for our hero and his species. After years of having no new game, it would be nice for long-term players to start off somewhere familiar. There's more emotion tied up in that place, and really seeing it burn down is going to be an emotional moment for us all. And that's exactly what Oddworld Inhabitants wants. This is going to be the darkest game so far by a long shot. You will feel, and it will hurt. Fact 4. It's so close in fact that the Gorge doubles as a tutorial area, backed by the giant boards that read, "A classic refresher, be wise, know your basics, tough path lies ahead, learn how, here and now, only fools dive in." I actually really dig these signs, as they can double as a gamer tip and a potential ad for some Magog product. Very well done indeed. Okay, so now with that out of the way, I'm going to point out the only flaw that I can see in my theory before anyone else does. Of course, feel free to later on point out other flaws that I may have not noticed. So yes, the map does show multiple trees and greenery in the surrounding area near Monsaic Lines, and while that is a hole in my point, I'm just going to say that maybe the surrounding area was once fertile and teeming with green, but due to greedy corporate entities, it's now a barren wasteland. It stands to reason that the cartel has tried to find it before, and Mullock does refer to it as hideout. Sligs do in fact patrol the area and even have dead Mudokon bodies hanging up as a warning to other Mudokons. They know that the hideout was nearby, they just didn't know the precise location until now. One might even assume that's why they set up shop in the desert. The cartel knows they're nearby, and of course their burial site would have to be a convenient enough distance away as well. Can't be carrying dead bodies in the beaming hot sun for too long after all. Also note that Oddworld inhabitants is quite consistent when it comes to environment. With Odyssey and Exodus, a sudden change of environment was signaled through a change of colour. Each area had a unique hue to it. Monsaic was green, and this desert is far from it, yes, but Oddworld inhabitants is also consistent with abrupt changes in environment as well. The Monsaic Lines is underground. It could serve as an oasis of sorts, much like Necrom Forest was. In Exodus, it's just desert, and desert for miles and miles. And then Necrom. But behind Necrom was a forest, seemingly out of nowhere. I bet the same suddenness has occurred with Monsaic as well. If you look at the scene where Abe falls, you can see it's all dirt right before the entrance. And even where Abe lands, it's all dirt. Well, actually, it looks like sand. And the cliff looks quite rocky, doesn't it? Much like the hole from which the fire originates. In fact, all of the Free Fire Zone looks rocky and dirty, similar to the rocky, dirty, sandy terrain Mullock flies over in the beginning of the new trailer. And this is all backed by the 3 colored transitions that you see in the short scene where Abe gets back up after possibly dying. Black for nighttime, rocky sandy Free Fire Zone, yellow for desert daytime color and Abe coming back to the light, and then green upon seeing Monsaic for the first time. Another counterpoint for the plot hole is that the map Abe has is probably old and outdated. I doubt Abe made that map himself, and it looks rather old. He hasn't much experience with the world other than actually have travelled to and survived some Mudokon hotspots. And why would an endangered species risk their livelihood to chart the country in recent times? Doesn't make much sense, does it? So there we have it. With evidence from 3 different trailers and previous canon games, we can stitch together the seemingly bulletproof theory that the Mudokons burnt down their own home. Isn't that just great? Yeah, nah, it sucks. But I truly believe that this is what fate has in store for our Abe guy. What do you think? Still don't agree? Have a plot hole to point out? Please do. I would love to hear all of your opinions. It's honestly so much fun discussing these theories, and I think Oddworld inhabitants gets a kick out of it too, watching us all scramble in the dark to unravel the truth. If you enjoyed, of course, be sure to like this video and subscribe. That's all for now, folks. Have a good day and have a good night. Bye bye.
Well, we gotta get out of here. Come on, let's get out of here.
My tummy's growling. I'm hungry.
Stop.